fundamental spiritual tenet in our New Thought spiritual teachings that we are made in the image and likeness of the divine. So if we are made of God, God's stuff, as Ernest Holmes so beautifully, Ernest Holmes is the founder of religious science, for those who do not know, which is our New Thought Unity teachings, that each and every one of us, no exception whatsoever, contains all the attributes of God. We do. We're created out of the nature of the divine. Therefore, we have within us all of those beautiful qualities that we have attributed to this higher power, because it's beyond words. And if it's beyond words, we try as humans to connect with this higher power. And so there are many qualities we attribute to it, and it feels right, it feels good. And you know what? In this time that we are living in, if it feels right and it feels good, I'm all in. I just want to feel good, and I want to feel right, and I think all of you feel the same way I do. Because when we're aligned with this infinite source of all good, we feel joy. We feel happy. And interestingly, it is the process of and the process in intentional creation that brings us most joy. When we intentionally create the lives we live, and that's by choosing. If it isn't as high as you would like, this month we're going to offer you some new insights. Now these insights are on how to increase it by aligning and expressing the divine quality of creation. So creation is our theme for this month. And I love what Ernest Holmes says in his book, It's Up to You. The whole philosophy, this is a philosophy of spirituality, is based on the assumption that standing within and back of each of us is God, the eternal presence as us. Remember that, as us. We are expressing our divine nature when we are in that flow of peace and harmony. God, the eternal presence as us. So, why don't you say that after me? God, the eternal presence as us.
God, the eternal presence as us.
In fact, say, God, the eternal presence as me.
God, the eternal presence as me.
That's it. Claim it. Make it personal. Make it personal, because you and the divine are living this life. You're co-creating. You're using the stuff that's already present, like all the laws of the universe, the spiritual laws and the natural laws of the universe, the laws of cause and effect, the laws of electricity, the laws of gravity. All of these laws work, and we use a spiritual law. And since we agree that that is true, then that must mean that each and every one of us, again, no exceptions to this, there are no exceptions, sometimes we're asleep, we're not awake to it, must contain all the attributes of God, the eternal presence, right? Makes sense to me. Again, Holmes had something to say that was related to that in talking in the power of prayer. This time, this comes from Science of Mind. Treatment is what we call, spiritual mind treatment is what we call affirmative prayer. It's just claiming our good. That's what it's doing. It's claiming our good. Because Ernest Holmes wrote all this over 100 years ago. So we got to remember the languaging might not be modern, but Wayne Dyer was doing it. He was taking the same essence, the same message as many of the other inspirational people you hear speaking. It's the same truth, spoken with different words. So, with that being said, this is what Holmes said. Treatment should incorporate a conscious recognition that health has always been ours, abundance has always been ours, happiness and peace have always been ours. They are ours now, for they are the very essence and truth of our being. Or we could put every attribute or quality of God in that quote, because there are so many attributes and qualities that we give to this infinite power of good. And there's a lot of qualities that run, you can go right through the whole alphabet in this, and I tried to do that, and so I'm going to try to do the whole alphabet. I didn't get it more, the X was a little tricky, but here's some qualities of God alphabetically. Abundance, beauty, compassion, delight, eternality, freedom, grace, harmony, intelligence, joy, knowing, love, magnitude, never-ending, order, peace, quiet, resilience, steadfastness, truth, unity, vision, wholeness, and exquisiteness. Of course, there's an E there, but we cheated a little on that one. It's hard trying to find an X quality of God, so exquisiteness. And then we had yumminess and zeal. Okay. There's many other qualities. We could run it again with a whole different set of qualities, like absolute, I'm not going to run the whole thing, absolute bounty and creativity. And actually, we will stop the spinning right there because creativity is the divine quality of this month. That's what this whole month is basically steeped in, creativity. One of our divine attributes, most certainly, is our creative nature. We create either consciously or through default. I'd rather myself create consciously than by default, because sometimes that default is, as the workshop's going to get in today, all those subconscious beliefs coming up, because they're creating too. They're creating also. And here's a little secret. We are intentionally creating. And when we're doing that intentionally, focused, we are really, really happy. And why is that? It's because we're expressing our true nature. You ever do something that feels like deliberate, like when I do my needlepoint, or when I used to sew. I know there's artists here, but you don't even have, you're creating your life. But anyway, the whole point is, for that moment, you're lost in time and you're feeling this joy within you. And it's the journey, the finished product. Like my finished needlepoint has nothing to do with me doing needlepoint at night. Nothing whatsoever. Because that's nice, but it's the joy of creating, of doing a different stitch, of using different materials. This is the joy of intentionally creating, and we do create our lives. That's why waking up in the morning, setting a strong intention of what you want to experience is key, because that law I spoke of, divine law, is always responding. Cause and effect. Thought is cause. The effect is your experience. So, I don't want to read that. Okay. I already said it. I love my needlepoint. I miss my needlepoint. But when I'm doing my needlepoint, I feel so at peace. You know, you probably have something that you do. It could be reading. It could be working out in the gym. It could be anything that brings you such joy that you forget everything that's going on around you. And there's a lot going on around us today. So we really want to be in that place of aligning with our creative nature. And if that makes, by the way, because there's so many political things going on that's quite upsetting to a lot of people and not upsetting to another bunch of people. So it's like, what can I do? And then find what it is you can do, you can think, you can respond to. What emotion can you tap into? So again, it's aligning ourselves with our creative nature and knowing that we are really powerful creative beings. And so today, all of those insights are wrapped around one question. And that is, what station are you listening to? What are you tuned into? Because here's the deal. Unless we are asleep in a deep state of meditation or in a coma, we are tuned into one of these internal radio stations, as we'll call them. Frequency, Holmes talks about that. Two of them weaken. If you have your internal radio tuned to these two, it might definitely bog you down. So we'll talk about what they are. Any one of them enhances the process and expedites the progress of international creation, which is our joy meter. Where is your joy meter tuned to? And I guess that you need to know that they are before you. Before you can answer them, you really need to know what they are, right? Do I have everyone?
Yes.
Okay, good. Little distractions going on. Where's your joy meter, everyone? Get that joy meter aligned, okay? Woo. So this question is not meant to cause you to think that you aren't spiritual enough, or that, God forbid, that you feel unworthy enough. It's just a matter of recognizing where we stand, or where we are in our creative journey of that joy meter. But just so we anchor in truth before looking at the 3 stations, I'd like us all to join together and say this after me. I love myself, the way I am, and still I want to grow. Now, some of you know that that is part of a song that we used to sing that many years ago. And these, I'll just give you one stanza from that song. I love myself the way I am, and still I need to grow. But change outside can only come when deep inside I know I'm beautiful and capable of being the best me I can. And I love myself just the way I am. I love that song. It's a great song. So you feel good after you sing that song. So in that self-love, coupled with a desire to expand and grow in consciousness, to be the highest expression of the eternal presence that we can be, let's look at the 3 radio stations and just maybe see where we're tuned into, and know you always have the freedom to change the dial. So first we start with Gloomy FM. Kind of self-evident what is playing on that station, isn't it? The world, or this might be it, the world, or my world, take your pick, is breaking down. Everything is going to hell in a handbasket, whatever that means. Doesn't sound good. I mean, you have these phrases you grew up with, they don't make any sense whatsoever. None. How about this one? Life is hard and is always going to be hard. In fact, I can foretell in all the ways to which it's going to be even harder. They may be successful, but I'm never going to be. Internal, Gloomy FM, we're on there. And I'm going to try to attempt to say this word. Krzyzewski, an influential Polish film director and screenwriter of the mid-1980s, once said, I have one good characteristic. I'm a pessimist. So I always imagine the worst. Always, to me, the future is a black hole. People think like this. People think like this. And that, my friends, is being tuned into Gloomy FM. Okay, so we really don't want to be there. So let's, not too much creation. The only kind of creation is we're creating more of the same thing in our lives. So let's tune to a different station. How about Reality FM? Here this is small r, by the way, not capital. Here I'm tuned to what is, my current reality. And the what is only looking at what is, what the conditions are, and believing that that's all there is. The conditions that we are in right here and right now, it's not that much better than Gloomy FM. Reality FM is about what has been created right up to now, with no thought of what could be. It's just this is, but not with the extra caveat that we'll get into. We keep ourselves in Reality FM when we keep repeating the story of what is, or ain't it awful? Ever hear that? Oh, ain't it awful? Can you now see what station maybe that really isn't much, this station really isn't much better than Gloomy FM? And I'm not saying this to be oblivious to your own reality, but you don't have to set a limit. You don't have to let it limit you. Listening to Reality FM all the time, you are limiting yourself. It's small because there's nothing expansive for creation. So for the past few minutes, I've been talking about Gloomy FM and Reality FM, and where's your joy meter? Don't feel that great. Or do you really feel inspired and fired up from that?
No.
I don't think so. So clearly we're not listening to either Gloomy or Reality. Not today. Because we are weakening the process of intentional creation, consciously creating. Because we're limiting that. And we are creating by default, like I said before. We're just creating. Because remember that our every thought is creating our experience or our response to whatever's taking place. And we're not living in alignment with Source. So we're not giving the eternal presence in us room to express its own creative nature, our creative nature. So thankfully there is another station that I know you've all been waiting for. And this is the station that enhances the process and expedites the progress of intentional creation. It's the station that aligns you with Source. It's that station that allows the eternal presence to flow in and through and as you. That's your true nature. And it's called Potential FM. Potential FM is not about what's happening right now in this moment, but rather what is possible. What is possible? Potential FM is living in an expanding state of the true mind, the true self of who you really are. Because it's limitless, infinite potential. That's who we truly are. And Potential FM is about vision. It's about seeing beyond the conditions, seeing beyond what is. It's about seeing what you can't even see right now. You hold your vision. Feel the vibration of your vision. You don't know how it's going to unfold. That's okay. It's okay not to know, but to hold what it is that you truly want to experience in your lives. And if you remember the words that God said to Abram in the scripture in Genesis, now lift up your eyes and look from the place where you are, northward and southward, eastward and westward. For all the land which you see, I will give it to you and to your descendants forever. That's bringing the Bible into it, because when we lift up our eyes from this place where we are to a higher place, to knowing that there are infinite possibilities available to us, we can see beyond the moment. We have an extended view of the horizon of the land at all times, and that land is our lives. Our lives. We can see beyond it. It is what it is. What else is possible? That's what we finish it up with, unlike the reality radio, where we just, this is what it is, and there's nothing more. You see the difference in an expanded consciousness, a way of experiencing life? As we bring ourselves to this greater vision, we induce a greater concept and thereby demonstrate more in our experience. In this way, there is continuous growth and an unfoldment taking place in our lives. And don't we really want to experience more? We want to up that joy meter. We want to turn that frequency up. Helen Keller once said this: no pessimist ever discovered the secret of the stars or sailed to an uncharted land. or opened a new doorway for human spirit. It is only in potential FM that those things can occur. When we are open, and we say it all the time, open and receptive to the infinite good that is always there for us in this moment, always keeping ourselves present in this moment. How can I respond differently to something that just annoyed me? How can I respond differently to that? How can I show up in life and really up my joy meter and be in peace and harmony no matter what is going on? And if it is taking some kind of divinely inspired political action, then take it. I say that, and I mean that. Then take it, but do it always in that place of internal peace, internal harmony. So you move ahead, and you don't have to settle for anything in this life. That's what I found out. You don't have to settle for anything in this life. So, my friends, what station are you tuned into? You can always, sometimes we can move it up and down, but the station we want to be on is in that potential station. If you find yourself either on the gloomy or FM or reality FM, other than to take care of what you need to take care of in the moment, I suggest that you make a conscious decision. Turn that dial. Up it to infinite potential. What happens is, and we know this, especially those who have studied this for so long, is that eventually it becomes our natural way of being. Okay, this is what it is. What else is possible? We don't stop at that what is. We open ourselves up to infinite possibilities, which are always present. And so, I'm going to do a prayer this morning to end this and move us all into potential FM. So let's just, if you will, close your eyes for a moment.